After finishing the ACTA series, which I did a deep dive on, so make sure to check it out, links are in the description, I wasn't ready to leave the genre yet. So I picked up a fan favorite I've heard everywhere, the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. It's technically dystopian romance, not fantasy, but it's close enough. Hey everyone, and welcome back. My name is Yemen. I'm a 21-year-old medical student from Tunisia, and I'm currently obsessed with fantasy romance. So, without further ado, let's talk about Shatter Me. The book starts with the line, I've been locked up for 264 days, and we're instantly intrigued. We very soon find out our main character has a little obsession with numbers, and the writing choice to use numerical digits rather than words makes for a sharp visual, and I like that choice, although it is a subtle one. We follow Juliette, a 17-year-old girl who is jailed in an asylum. Juliette's mind is vividly reflected in the writing, especially through the crossed-out thoughts, which mimic the way our brains reject uncomfortable ideas. I mean, haven't we all at some point had a thought that we don't like to admit we did, or would much rather pretend we didn't? The repeated lines show unwanted obsession and overthinking. Having a thought take over your mind must feel like hell, and this book clearly conveys that. She gets a cellmate, Adam, a boy she knew in her past, and we follow them for a few pages as they familiarize with each other. Then we find out that he has been sent by the re-establishment to evaluate Juliette's sanity, because she is wanted for her powers, which we figure out later lie in her deadly touch. Juliette's heartbreak is immediate, and we feel it. That sinking moment when someone familiar becomes a stranger with a weapon in his hands. On page 46, Tahereh writes, Adam is pointing a gun at me. Adam is pointing a gun at me. Adam is pointing a gun at me. Showcasing the dual stages Juliette went through, denial and acceptance. The thought goes from being crossed out to being clear. Little details like that add to the experience, and it makes the reader more immersed in the story. That moment sets the stage for the next chapter, Sector 45, one of 3,333 sectors worldwide. And 3 is my favorite number, so I found a little satisfaction in that. There, we get to see Warner and Juliette interact. It is obvious from the start that he has an obsession with Juliette. He sees himself in her, and he claims he knows her best. He wants her to embrace her monstrosity, to unleash her anger, and to accept who she is. He thinks she is someone who can understand him fully and love him despite all his flaws. Adam, on the other hand, sees her as the only good thing left in the world. He sees kindness in her and normalcy. He wishes to give her a normal life, away from the madness she's always known. Now, let's pause for a moment so we can digest that at this point, Juliette is loved from extremes and not fully. Adam sees this pure, fragile person, and Warner sees this weapon. The truth is, she is both. She can never be normal because she has powers unlike others. And she can't be a monster with no heart because that's not who she is. Oh, and by the way, Warner is as delusional as it gets. Juliette tells him she values human life more than he does, and the man smiles because she said his name. And I'm like, get it together, she hates you. Don't be a dumb man in love. And how can you say you love her when you don't even know her? Do you think having some medical records or some surveillance footage makes you an expert? Dude, you're either lying to yourself or you're actually that crazy to be falling for someone's broken parts without knowing who they truly are. Then we see Adam all like, you gave up your seat in the bus for that girl once. You shared your lunch with that kid who their parents were divorcing each other. You admitted to cheating on an exam so that girl didn't get punished. Oh, Juliette, my sweet, sweet angel. As if she did all of that out of kindness. But, as Warner points out, she just wanted a friend. She wanted to be loved. She wasn't being a selfless person. She was being strategic, maybe even desperate. She convinced herself that it was the only way to have people see her differently. And that's not bad necessarily, but it proves that Adam does not see her in the way she needs to be seen, but rather in the way she wishes and wants to be seen. And wants and needs can be conflicting at times. Now let's reflect on the beginning of the book when Juliette says, I want to be angry, 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 as a crossed out thought. She also says, no one has watched me close enough to wonder why I stare out a window, while longing for someone to do just that. And like it or not, she got both in Warner. He made her angry by provoking her, and he's the only one who actually watched her like a hawk for months. So careful what you wish for, Juliette dear, because you got it. but in horrible, twisted ways. After staying at the headquarters of Sector 45, Juliette and Adam become closer and they start a relationship. And they decide to escape when the time is right, which happens to be during a Code 7 drill. They head to Adam's home where we get to meet James. We're instantly in love with the kid. You feel his personality shine through the dialogue. He actually sounds like a 10-year-old. And unlike the Agatha series where everyone sounded like Feyre in disguise, in Shatter Me the voices are very distinct. We get different punctuation and phrase structure for each of them. And Kenji's character pops off the most. He has such a strong personality and you feel his individuality in his replies. It is such an interesting contrast between the two books. And speaking of Kenji, who is Adam's friend from base who knows a place they can go to, his banter with Juliette was exquisite. Everything he said made me smile. Everything. Is it wrong of me that I kind of wanted her to forget all about Adam and all about Warner to explore things with Kenji? Because the chemistry was to die for. He actually sounded like a stable person, unlike the other two, who are emotional wrecks with too much drama and baggage. But alas, I know that won't happen. He'll probably end up a close friend and more of a supporting role than a main love interest. But if I was Juliette, I'd go for a Kenji any day. And if I was Tahereh, I'd genuinely explore that direction. Moving on to when Kenji, Adam, James and Juliette are trying to get to that safe place Kenji mentioned. That's when they cross paths with Warner, who is blinded by his affection towards Juliette and by his rage towards Adam, the guy who stole his little obsession away. He shoots Adam in cold blood and corners Juliette into what felt like the most uncomfortable and humiliating conversation ever. Warner is all like, I love you, choose me. And Juliette is having none of it, saying, get away from me, you sick, pathetic freak. I don't think anyone can stoop any lower than Warner just did. And I mean, I know I said he was delusional, but even I didn't think he would take it this far. I don't know how the writer can convince me to root for Warner, because I dislike him so much I could write an entire book about it. But that's when I read Destroy Me. I know a lot of people say it is not necessary to read the novellas, but if you are like me, so done with Warner by the end of book one, you definitely need to read it. We get to meet his father, the Supreme Commander, and to give you a glimpse of what he's like, the man choked his son while he was in bed, injured from a gunshot. He was also disappointed with him when he spared Fletcher's innocent family. To say he's a monster is an understatement. We also see his interactions with Dululu, his lieutenant. I know I say it weird, but it's just because it's fun that way. Those little conversations humanize him further. We get a background story of how he first learned about Juliette, and we get to read some of his reactions to her notebook, which were heartbreaking. By the end of it, all is forgiven. I don't know how, but I found myself sympathizing with Warner and feeling sorry for him. Sure, he did some unforgivable things that need to be addressed in the upcoming books, but you've got to remember that this guy is only 19. When you think of it, that's too young to bear such responsibility, to carry such dramatic things, and to have to deal with Anderson, his father, who embodies everything evil. Okay, guys, we reached the end of today's video. And to say I'm excited to read Unravel Me next would be a betrayal to how I truly feel. Because I genuinely cannot wait. I need to pick it up right now. So stay tuned for that. Leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite takes were. If you disagree, if you agree, I want to hear unfiltered opinions. This is a safe space. I'll see you next time. Salam alaikum. Bye.